The largest in state history, has now grown to nearly 256,000 acres. The weather remains hot and dry, and while winds remain relatively calm today, they're forecasted to increase for your Tuesday.
That's not good news. Did you know that nationwide, 1 out of 3 homes now sits near wildland space, and wildfires cause $500 million in property damage and losses each year.
But property owners are not helpless, and as meteorologist Mark Elliott explains, there are steps you can take to protect your property during wildfire season.
When a wildfire comes nearby your home, it's already too late to take preparations around your home to make sure your home is safe. For this reason, I want to go over some fire safety tips for you. Make sure your house is in as good a position as possible. And we've broken this down by zones. And we're going to start off near your house. That's zone 1. Anything that you're planting should really be about 3 to 4 feet away from the sides of your home. So if they do catch fire, they're not right up against the house. In zone 2 here, you want to trim your tree branches about 10 feet from the chimney. That's because you don't want you to be the source of a wildfire, as hot embers come out of the chimney and can actually ignite some of those old branches if they're not trimmed back enough. Zone 3, well, you've got to think about the front lawn. You don't want the grass to be tall and growing out of control, because that can be a source for the fire. Instead, keep it watered and mowed. 4 inches or shorter should protect you as best as possible. As we move on to zone 4, the perennials and shrubs, those shorter plants, you don't want those really getting overgrown either. So about 18 inches should be their top growth. And finally, the big trees themselves. Fire can actually jump from one tree canopy to another. So if possible, separate your trees by about 2 times their height. And if you do all of this, you're in as good a position as you can be to protect your home from wildfires.
And you can log on to weather.com for more tips on how to protect your home. Type in weather.com/ready and then click on the wildfire tab for all types of helpful information and even some demonstrations.
Well, from wildfire season to hurricane season, we've already had 2 named tropical storms so far this hurricane season, so no doubt we are off to a very active start.
Joining us now to talk about responding to storms is Trevor Riggin with the American Red Cross. Trevor, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's only the 4th of June. We've had 2 tropical storms already. What is the #1 priority for the Red Cross this hurricane season?
Well, Crystal and Paul, as you know, the report this season is calling for an average number of hurricanes, but as we also know, it only takes 1. And so our #1 priority this season is that the public in harm's way, those on the coastlines and in hurricane-prone states, are ready, that they sit down with their families, that they have a plan, that they've prepared a kit on what in case something should happen, and that they have information not only available, but they know where to get it when something does occur.
And how has the Red Cross prepared itself, and if something does happen, affect the U.S., what can the public expect?
So just as we have to ask the American public to take those steps, we're doing the same thing. So our chapters are more than 66,000 disaster volunteers around the country, and our staff are working diligently to get supplies in place, cots and blankets to where they need to be, that our plans are refreshed and ready to go, that our partners are aware of the activities we're having, and that we have the information ready for our community should something happen. And we are doing this in every state up and down the East Coast and along the Gulf Coast.
And speaking of information and getting the word out, how does the Red Cross plan on using social media this hurricane season?
So as I mentioned, getting information out to the public is a key role of the American Red Cross. And social media has transformed the way we do this. And we're able to reach out to people directly and very personally through social media. So we have a cadre of volunteers and staff that are listening to the public as they go through disasters, and that gives us 2 things. One, it allows us to help them, and it gives us good information to